It took about 5 years from scratch. We moved here in October 2000, and we really started gardening in March 2001. And it wasn't a garden that we like. I mean, it was just like grass and conifers and just a slope from one side to the other. And the people who were here before were not gardeners, and they said they weren't gardeners. So really it was a blank canvas for us to start work on. We wanted a pool, so I wanted that at the lowest level, nice big pool, and some nice winding paths, because I love the mystery of having paths that wind round so you can't see everything. When you stand at the top, you can't just see everything. So, and then there were various big trees I did want to keep. There was a willow tree already planted where I wanted to put the pool, so that was perfect. And then various other trees which were kept, and some shrubs which provided a background. And so we started from there. It's so easy to let it take over if you're not careful, because you get very focused, and I want it to look like this and I want it to look like that. And he actually brings me down to earth and says, look, it's time we went out, we'll go and look at somebody else's garden, or come and sit down. Will you stop working and come and sit down and enjoy the garden? Because you do need to do that, and sometimes when you're working very hard you forget that. So that's really one of the reasons why we've got all these seats around the garden, so we can go and sit in various places and just enjoy the views. It looks as if it goes somewhere, but it doesn't actually. This is nice and cool down here on a hot day. I've never actually been trained. It's sort of happened by accident that people sort of said to me, well, you've got a nice garden, could you do something with mine? The apple tree was already here when we came, and it is a prolific fruiter. It provides us with hundreds of pounds of apples every year. I don't know what it is, I think it's a Bramley, but I'm not an expert on fruit trees. And so we wanted to keep it. So I thought, well, it's a little bit ugly in itself, so we'll put a little seat round it, and so that you can sit, because obviously it's shaded as well, which is nice. So you can come and sit here, and at least there is some shade when it's a hot day like today. When one season is gone, you've got the winter when it all dies down, and you think, well, next year I will do this and I will do that, and that didn't work, so I'll alter that. So it's a continuous process, a continual evolvement, and the fact that you've never ever finished. There's always a challenge, and once you've caught the bug, it's you've got it for life. Yeah. You've got it for life. You can't leave it alone. They do, and you have to be ruthless sometimes, and it's terrible to do that, and I hate cutting down something which is living and destroying it, but you have to do that occasionally. Like when we came here, we had to take a lot of the trees out, and I hate taking a healthy tree out, but if you're going to have a good design, then you just can't leave everything as it was.
Sure.
Yeah, so you just have to grit your teeth and think, well, they've had a certain life, every gardener makes mistakes. Even Alan Titchmarsh, I gather, makes mistakes, because he said so one Gardener's World programme. And I love my little fish, and they know my voice now, so they come to be fed as soon as they hear me in the garden. They're all over where I am, and they move round the pool with me.
Well, how many fish did you start off with?
Probably about 20. We've only got 2 of the big ones left, and they were teeny weeny things when we started off with them. But we did have a local heron who unfortunately made a meal of some of them, which was a shame. But most of these are babies which we haven't bought, which is wonderful. So they're doing their thing in the pond. There we are. That'll probably keep them going for a little bit. The wonderful thing about gardening is you can always move things. It's not set in stone. So if something doesn't work, and things don't work from more than one point of view, sometimes they don't work because they don't like where you've put them. You know, they just don't settle where they are, and you really don't know why. But then you uproot them and try them somewhere else. So you just put them, move them until you find somewhere they're happy with, and sometimes they never are happy. So I had to completely learn where the moister areas are, where gets the sun, where is in shade, how much sun you get, and try to match the plants to where they would like growing. And then, of course, you've got to think of colour, size, and that's spread as well as height. You've got to think of the season, when they're going to flower, season of course, and then how it's all going to meld together. We're coming down here in the evening, and it's also cool in the morning. At the moment it's the only cool place in the morning, but we come down in the evening, sit here and have some drinks, and bring our meal down here, watch the sun go down, watch the little lights come up on the pool, and it's a bit magical. We wanted a summer house because we'd had a summer house at our old garden, and we found that was wonderful because you can, because it's enclosed and because you can shut the doors, you can sit down there, even on a cold winter's day, and it's nice. And it was, when my husband was working very hard, it was a telephone free and PC free area. So we'd go down there and we'd relax, and that was lovely. So we had to have another summer house, so the foundations for that had to be built, of course. And then we've got our summer house, which is lovely. So that was essential to have that, so it was overlooking the pool, so we could watch the fish, we could watch the wildlife, and just relax. It's very relaxing, and in the evening it's magical, because we've got these little solar lights positioned all around, and of course they come up when the sun goes down, and it really is a magical atmosphere around the pool at night. There's something magical about the sound of water, even in the day, but at night even more so.